Your anger, your resentment, and the grudges that you hold on in your life are poisoning you. When a snake bites a person, it's not the bite that kills the person. It's the poison that runs through the blood after the snake has bitten the person. And the same goes with your resentments, the resentments that you hold towards other people and towards yourself. A couple years ago, I worked closely with a shiatsu coach and a Shaolin monk. And in one particular session, he changed my life forever. Or what he told me, the lesson he gave me, changed my life forever. It's just a subtle shift in perception. But I grew up with a schizophrenic brother, and it was tough growing up. I saw a lot of things, saw how destructive it can be if you're not in alignment with your own spirit, and if you're if you're not in control of your mind and your emotions. And although that's a story in and of itself, there's been loops, things that repeated themselves over and over again. And at some point when I was older, I told myself, you know what, I forgive him, because I carried a lot of anger, a lot of hate inside of me when I was younger because of the things I've seen. But at some point I was like, okay, I forgive him after all that happened. But then something similar happened again, and I felt so frustrated. I felt so devastated. I felt so angry inside of me. And then I went to the session with my teacher, and he noticed that I wasn't in my energy. He noticed that I was out of alignment. He asked me what happened, and I told him the story. I told him that I forgave him, but I still feel this anger. And he then looked into my eyes and said, "Brother, you don't have to forgive him. You have to forgive yourself." And all of a sudden, I got so emotional. I started crying. My eyes got wet. They got teary. And it just touched me on a deeper level. He said, you have to forgive the little boy inside of you that couldn't defend himself. The boy that was there and just had to watch what happened and couldn't do anything. And it totally shifted my perception. And ever since that day, I really forgave myself and not just my brother. And ever since then, the energy, everything around me changed. The family dynamics completely changed. And the relationship between me and my brother changed enormously. And I'm probably going to dive deeper into this in another video, but it's so important to forgive. And don't start with other people. Don't be like, they did this to me, they did that to me, they did me wrong. Yeah, it happens in life. But first of all, start with yourself. Before you say, okay, I forgive them, it's all right. Like, cool, I forgive you. Come back, start with yourself and go into your center and ask yourself, where do I need to forgive myself? And then it's not even that you did something wrong. Sometimes you just haven't been strong enough. Sometimes you need to forgive yourself for not being strong enough, for not knowing better. Sometimes for knowing better but not doing better, not for not having the courage to speak up, for not having the courage to stand up for yourself. Sometimes you need to forgive yourself for saying things that you weren't supposed to say, or for saying things that you didn't mean that way, or the opposite, for not saying what you actually wanted to say. There's multiple things that we have to go through in ourselves that we have to let go, and we have to forgive. And especially from our childhood, especially in our teenage years, we carry so much shame, so much anger, so much guilt because of the experiences we have experienced, and the things we have been programmed with, how our society has programmed us to react to certain events. So before you forgive someone else, forgive yourself. And the thing is, we all make mistakes, but the mistakes that we make tend to be the hardest on ourselves. Those tend to be the things that the mistakes or the events that we are holding on so tightly and that are so hard for us to let go. To forgive yourself is the key to live a free life. Because if you can't forgive yourself, you're a slave to your past and you're a slave to your emotions. And if you can't forgive others, then you're also a slave to them, because then they hold power over you. They have power over you. Because if you have a person right now that you feel anger towards, and you just think about this person, you feel the same emotions, although that person is not there. But you feel as if this person would stand in front of you right now. So forgive yourself first and then forgive other people. But start with yourself. It's really important. And ask yourself, which version of myself do I need to forgive? Is it the little boy or the little girl inside that needs my love and my attention? To just um, take a moment for yourself, to go within yourself, and to go within and talk to this little boy. Just imagine yourself, this version of you, or this younger version of you is in front of you, and you just look into the eyes and say, I forgive myself for not being there for you. I'm sorry that I wasn't there for you. I'm sorry that you had to go through this and that you weren't strong enough back then. But I'm here now. I have grown. And we're here now, you know? Because they all live in you. You have multiple versions inside of you. And it's important to tap into them and to see what needs to be released inside of you. And then also, if you hold resentment towards other people, visualize them standing in front of you. Close your eyes and visualize them standing in front of you. And then imagine yourself having a conversation with them. If you need to scream, if you need to shout, let it out in your imagination, or even when you close your eyes with yourself. Let it out. But intend to come back to peace and intend to resolve this situation, or this conflict that you have with this person in peace. But when you visualize it, it's easier to let it go. Just imagine yourself asking them for forgiveness first. Although even if you think that there's nothing that you've done wrong, just ask them for forgiveness. Ask them, is there anything that you perceive me to have done wrong unto you? Is there anything that you feel like, is there something where you feel like I did it wrong towards you? And then just slowly start to forgive it and try to see it from their perspective. And then also come back to your position. Imagine them forgiving, um, imagine them apologizing for whatever they done. And imagine yourself coming into peace and coming to peace with this person, whoever it is. And often, from my experience, when I had situations like this, it's funny because when you do this, you either get into a conversation with this person somehow, or you start to meet this person, even if it's someone you haven't seen in years. All of a sudden they appear, and you have this opportunity to actually practice it and live it out, and to just forgive in this realm, like in this physical realm. And when you do, you will notice like a lot of negative energy will lift off of you. And it's such a beautiful feeling, because that's what I'm talking about. Then you're liberated again. Then you open yourself up to source, and that's when you open yourself up to more abundance, to more creativity, to more love. Because that's when God can come through, source, energy, whatever you want to call it, you know? But you have to align yourself with your source of being, and your source of being is peace. And the opposite of peace is hate or hatred. So when you let go of hatred and you open yourself up to love and connect back to peace, that's when things start to flow. So when you don't forgive yourself and don't forgive others, it's not just that you hold on to this energy, it's that this energy blocks you. It's blocking you in your life. It's blocking you in your emotion. It's blocking you in your business, in your accomplishments, in your relationships, in your career, in every aspect of your life subconsciously. And the moment you let go, you will see that a lot of new doors will open up. Another new opportunities will open up. You will have more joy. You will have more love, and things will feel lighter. And another thing that you can do, which I highly recommend, is to talk to yourself in the mirror, to forgive yourself in the mirror, to look into your own eyes, and first off say I love you, and then to initiate a conversation. If you need to talk to a certain aspect of yourself, a certain part of yourself, let's say the 8-year-old boy, or the 14-year-old girl, or the 21-year-old, I don't know, like, you have multiple versions inside of you, but you can bring them up consciously and imagine yourself speaking to that version in the mirror right now. And when you do that, you release this aspect of your life where you maybe still hold on trapped energy in that certain part, or that certain version of yourself, and you integrate it in yourself. And this is so important. And what you can also do is to Do the same visualization that I mentioned before, but to just imagine yourself like speaking into the mirror, and imagine that the person in the mirror is the person that you hold resentment towards, and you having a conversation with them. And that's where you can really get raw with it. That's where you can get loud. That's where you can scream. It's like a preparation for the real conversation, if the real conversation happens. But I encourage you to do this, and then if the person is still alive, because that's the good thing about this exercise. Let's say you still hold resentment towards a person who has passed on, who's no longer in this realm, who has died. Then you can initiate a conversation with this person, and the thing is, you then release a lot of energy inside of you because this person has passed on. And one of the deepest regrets of human beings, like before they die, is that first of all, they haven't lived their dreams. That's one of the biggest regrets. But another big regret is that they didn't forgive, and that they held on to this anger and this frustration, and that they didn't come to peace with the people who had passed on. That they didn't seek that conversation that they could have seeked out, but then it was too late because that person was gone. You know. And when you look into the mirror and speak to that person, even if it's gone, you also release this energy, and you also got to remind yourself of this: energy can never die. It can only be transferred. It can only be changed. It can only transform. So the person who's no longer here is also in a different realm. And when you release this energy or this conflict between you and this person, you're not just releasing it for yourself, you're also releasing it for the spirit that has passed on. And as we are all connected, and when you start healing yourself, you also heal the collective consciousness. You start to heal. You're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it for the highest good of all. But especially do it for yourself so that you can live a free life, so that you can enjoy this life, so that you can walk through this life with love. Because that's what we're here for. We're here to reconnect to what we truly are, and what we truly are is love. So speak to yourself in the mirror. Forgive yourself. If you have resentment towards other people, speak to them in the mirror, and you will see, if you do that, the same thing I mentioned before. It is most likely, if they're still alive, it's very likely to happen that they all of a sudden give you a call, or that you meet them on the street, and all of a sudden you get into a conversation, and you release it there, and especially if you held a lot of anger, and if you screamed into the mirror and you just let it all out, you then prepared yourself for the real conversation, and it's easier for you to go through it. At least that's how it's been in my experience. But I always intend to go back to peace, to connect back into to peace. And whenever you can, end a conversation in peace, or when you part ways with people, always intend to do so with peace, no matter what happened. Try to end the conversation in peace, because you never know when we're gonna die. You never know when the person is gonna leave, and especially if it's someone who's close to you, and family member, or a close friend, or relationship. It's always better to end the day in peace, and to be the bigger man, the bigger person, the bigger woman, who stands up and says, you know what, I want to resolve this. Let's resolve this. I want peace. I choose peace, because that's what we are. And when you do so, you liberate yourself. And when you liberate yourself, you're not just liberating yourself, you're also liberating the world, because we are all one. We are all connected. So, remind yourself, forgive yourself first, then forgive others. Do it for yourself, but also remind yourself that when you do it for yourself, you're also doing it for the highest good of all. And that is so important for all of us. So, I hope this video was helpful for you. Like I said before, connect to peace, connect to love, to what you truly are. And I thank you for your time. Thank you for tapping in. Thank you for listening. I am Law Haru. This is the way of law. And we keep on rising. We keep on elevating. One love.